like a record. Oh my god, it's Arch.
It's me.
My name is March, I'm 19, and I use any pronouns, but mainly they, them.
Now give us your social security number. Marilyn, Jane, Montes. Oh, 19, and then she, her. Okay, so how did you initially get into going to shows at ISU? Well, my freshman year, last year, there was this guy named Fisher. He was in my anthropology class. And he goes, cool, do you like indie music? And I go, yeah. And he goes, are you free this Saturday? And I go, yeah. And he's like, do you want to go to the show at Coffee House? And I was like, I'll go with you. And then I went, and then ever since then, every once in a while, me and him would just be hang out. Sometimes we'll invite Maddie over. And he's like, guys, let's go to a show. He'll bring his acoustic guitar to the shows. And afterwards, he asked the band members to like sign his guitar. So his acoustic guitar was filled with a bunch of random signatures of random local bands he used to go to since he was younger.
So I just started like looking on like Bandcamp and like local venues and shit to see if there was any live music, because I just wanted like shit to do and I wanted to find people like similar to me, because I knew a lot of ISU is not similar to me.
So I figured like going to shows and finding like live music would be a good first step.
What are some of your favorite local bands, Marilyn? Dude, No Shelter.
No Shelter. I've never been disappointed by a show of theirs.
Y'all ready to jump? 1, 2, 3!
I really like Feed the Monkeys.
So I think No Shelter and Feed the Monkeys are for sure like my top two, I think.
What's your like favorite part about going to shows, just in general?
Definitely like the release and like energetic thing of it, especially when it comes to like moshing. That's why I love like hardcore shows so much, because being in a group of people and being able to like make the deliberate decision to not pay attention to like the rules of the way you're supposed to act in crowds, being able to make the deliberate decision to not do that and to like just fuck around and until I'm too tired to like stand like that. It's the kind of release that I got from like doing sports and shit that I don't get to do anymore. So it's a good like physical release, and then also just like a mental thing of like just shut the fuck down and move for an hour and then like recover later.
Just know what to do.
It's like sensory seeking, you know, where you're seeking that feeling of being pushed around, and it like makes you feel a lot more alive because you're actually experiencing things, and it's like a way of like choosing to be fucked with.
Like, do you feel like the scene is like very like white man dominated?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Makes it harder? Yeah.
Freshman year, I remember there would be shows where there's like 3 girls, and I would be one of the 3.
Generally, like in my own experience, I think men are typically like wary of me, and they're not eager to talk to me or interact with me or anything, and I do think that's an experience unique to me. Like, I don't get harassed, I don't get hit on, and I know that is an experience unique to me. I think a lot more other AFAB people in the scene they have to deal with that a lot more than I do, but just being then in crowds, and as someone who likes to participate a lot in the crowd and likes to participate a lot in pits and, you know, whatever the fuck, like, I'm there to move and experience the music however I want to, and that means taking up space. A lot of the times people aren't willing to give you that space, or on the opposite side, they are trying to like make sure you know that they think it's cool that you exist, you know, and like I don't want a pat on the back for existing. I don't want like a, hey man, great fucking job in the pit. Because that's a weird thing to say to someone, and you're not saying that to the fucking 6-foot guy that was like knocking bitches over.
I remember one time last year, there's a girl singing, and it was like, I forgot the band name, but afterwards I would hear like so many rude comments from just dudes talking, saying, oh my god, blah blah blah, like they were derogatory, they were sexist, and ever since then I've never seen that girl perform ever again. And since then there have been less and less like girls at shows.
I think as an AFAD person in the scene, it's a lot more dangerous. It's a lot more difficult to experience it and experience live music as purely as AMAD people do, because AMAD people don't need to prove that they deserve to be there, but AFAD people do every single time. I've been to so many fucking shows here. Like, I know for a fact that most people recognize me. I'm a recognizable person, but I still need to like prove that I deserve to be there and that I belong and that I deserve to take up as much fucking space as I want to take up. They have all of these fucking expectations about what punk women or women in the DIY scene are supposed to be like, or the way that they're supposed to act. They're supposed to be on the fucking sidelines in their heads. So when I don't do that, they're like, ah, that's so cool, that's so punk, without recognizing that like the things I am rebelling against are the shit that they are upholding with their fucking expectations, and they reinforce that every time they come up to me and tell me that I am an exception in their mind.
So, would you consider yourself a punk?
At this point, yeah. So once I realized that like I am not as like common, I guess, as like most people, I felt more comfortable with the label, and then as I started like participating in the scene more, I felt more comfortable with like the identity, and now it's something that I like care about a lot, and like I like the label of punk for myself a lot because it feels very correct, and I feel like it's a super accurate and deep label to use for myself. Like, it covers a lot of bases rather than just the way that I dress or the music that I listen to.
Would you consider yourself a punk?
No.
No. Okay,
I would not.
Why?
Well, one, there's still a lot of things I need to learn and get educated on before I can classify myself as something. Like, even then, I don't really want a label. No matter what the label means, I'm just me.
Often at shows, especially if you're in like a actual like alternative scene, a lot of people say if you call yourself punk,
Yeah.
you're immediately opposing,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of like, so how do you know?
Yeah.
But like, do you think that there is like something to be said about like giving yourself that label and like living up to it and meeting it and
Yeah.
like making it for yourself?
I think for me, part of it is like an accountability thing of like, if I'm calling myself punk, I need to be a fucking punk, and that's going to be something that I implement into my life consistently. So like, I think a lot about a lot of like the work that I've been doing in school is geared towards like being a teacher, you know, and the whole focus, the whole lens that we take as like incoming teachers, or they call us like teacher candidates. The whole lens that we've been taking is like socially just teaching. So a lot of the things that I care about in punk kind of overlap with that, and a lot of my thought process is, how can I be a punk teacher? How can I implement these ideas that I care a lot about and these fundamental like truths of society in my head? How do I implement that to then also benefit like my future students and shit? So like for me, calling myself a punk is a way to like remind myself to implement that into everything that I can. And then I think for others, calling myself a punk or identifying as punk to other people is important, because it's like a reminder that it is an option and like that it is alive.
Because I used to have a bunch of punk friends, and they would all consider themselves punk. But then one time, one of them was like, it's hypocritical to call myself a punk, because that's what punk is, being against labels, yet you're labeling yourself.
Having more punks doesn't mean that it's a better scene. I think it's about like the quality of the ideology, the quality of the people within the scene. So like you can have a group, like I could consider our friend group like a little punk. That's our punk scene. And like if all it is like 5-6 people, that still counts for me. That still is seen. Because if the whole point of punk is going against the mainstream, then like you don't need a lot of people.
I think that punk is so alive because I'm living it. Like, me and my friends are living punk, you know? Like, that's us. And I feel like to say that, like, something like that was completely dead when there's still, like, many people that, like, feel it and live it and, like, live their life around it, like, is kind of wrong. Like, it's so small now, and, like, it's not, like, at the same caliber that it used to be. But, like, I think as long as, like, people have ideologies of rebellion, like, punk will always be alive.
I go to college and make it so cool. I live in a dorm and show up at the pool. I turn a right clubs just to build an impression. I'm not out thinking you won't get me ahead. My ambition in life is to look good on paper. All I want is a slot in some big corporation. Evolution's my hero, I am food and I hate him. My news of the world comes from Sports Illustrated. I'm proud of my trophies, by my intricate dance. Like the nerds up the wall to impress all my friends. No, I'm not here to learn. I just want to get drunk and major in business and be taught how to fuck. Whoa! At the terminal, turn it up,